fellow Americans, are we reaping our harvest of greed? Have we built our house on sinking sand? Why are we being ugly Americans?
Hi, this is CJ Holmes, founder of Homeowners for Justice, and your host today for Weekdays Live. Welcome again. We've got a really special guest on the show with us today, Jesse from What Lies in Your Debt, telling us all how to take those preemptive strikes. How can we strike back and stop these monsters from taking our homes and ruining our lives? So, before we get to him, though, I want to share with you the latest and greatest survey from what agents are saying. I want to show you some information coming out from Occupy about grassroots seminars, and also put in some links into live stream so that you can refer to them later. We'll just briefly highlight this using the OCC code in Fighting Back. It's fairly technical, but it could be very excellent for particularly those of us that are focusing on these technical issues. And then I'm bringing in just another quick video, and I'm going to show you again who we must connect with, because again, we need to make this go viral. We need to connect with everyone in our country that is standing up for right. There's a whole lot of them that are, and they're not getting much media attention, as you would expect. So let's focus today first off with what real estate agents are saying. This is a fabulous little survey. It comes from one of the in real estate magazines that I get, online magazines, from First Tuesday. And the votes are in: bank CEOs ought to be criminally prosecuted. No kidding. I'd like to read just briefly what they say below while you're looking at the chart. It says 91% of the voters, these are agents, these are real estate agents, said big bank CEOs ought to be held personally and criminally responsible for wrongdoing perpetrated during what they're calling now the millennium boom. And what they mean by that is that's the years of 2000 to 2007. This is when they did toxic loans, fraudulently inducing people to borrow with loans that would explode. They call it, it was characterized by loose lending practices and unsustainably high property prices and sales volumes. Well, it's the loose lending, it's like throwing away the rules, that caused the property values to just mushroom and the sales volume to mushroom. So the whole thing was a fraudulent inducement. And unfortunately, they're commenting, back to the comments, it seems that big bank CEOs have become too big to jail. Yeah, they haven't been prosecuted. At least that's their argument for immunity. Those who advocate protecting CEOs believe that jailing such high-powered and influential individuals would have a disastrous effect on the stability of the financial markets. And we've already watched videos on this stream, if you've been watching the shows, where elected representatives in Congress they're saying that they were told, you know, the sky would fall if they actually didn't approve TARP or wanted to criminally prosecute these banksters. But the article goes on to say, and not only the article, but the agents that voted, we're saying we don't think so. Holding bank CEOs personally responsible for criminal misconduct would create more stability in our financial and real estate markets. Aside from satisfying our healthy sense of justice, criminal prosecutions would create much needed legal precedent for financial services crimes. We are not calling for the guillotine yet, they say, but it's clear that the billion-dollar settlements are not enough to deter the wolves of Wall Street. And of course, you and I were calling for the guillotine. We want them prosecuted right now. We want 3 hots and a cot for these folks, because we must stop this crime. They're just like bullies. They won't stop until you stop them. So I just wanted to let you know that chances are highly likely that the agents you know would vote to prosecute criminal prosecutions for CEOs of banks. So I think it's about time. We're about ready to really make a push into the real estate market. There's one of our exposures and expansions of the movement. Now, InterOccupy is offering grassroots organization sessions, seminars, and it's online. And it's because I've said this myself and I've heard other people say it. I'm not an organizer. I never expected to be an activist or an organizer. So how do you do this? And I just wanted to point out right down here, it actually, I want to read this one comment. While some feel the world revolves around Washington and the capitals of the world, all politics is local. The easiest way to change the world is to change the conditions on your street, your block, in your community. So if you're interested in getting some real insider information and getting on one of these online seminars, go to this link and then you can sign up here at the link that's on this page. Now, the UCC, we're talking about taking preemptive strikes. We're fighting back to save our homes and our lives and those of our loved ones and our neighbors and friends and family. So here, I'm just showing the link on Garfield's website. It's going to be on the comments after the show. And this is the Federal Reserve has set you up. Yeah, no kidding. And so set them up right back. And here is an explanation of how this attorney is recommending you use the OCC code. And what I wanted to read is just one brief comment about it. It's pretty powerful. This is being written it was linked just yesterday. With the economy in its present Federal Reserve orchestrated condition, your eventual default on the promissory note and mortgage against your property is assured. Prepare now for that inevitable day. The following is one possible course of action against the criminal banks. And then they go in and talk about the UCC code. I think that's a pretty powerful statement that we are now being told by attorneys, others. I've been saying this for years. They're never going to stop foreclosing until they foreclose everything. They're going to foreclose everything, including those that don't even have loans. We already know that's starting to happen. People that have their loans paid off, people that don't have loans, they're forging all the paperwork anyway. It's just a production line. So they just make the paperwork, poof, stick it on your property. And now the owners are going, wait a minute. And everyone's being put into the position of having to fight to defend their home. And the banks just keep going. The monster, it's like a headless monster, just keeps chewing up the inventory. So please make this aware to your neighbors and friends. They're thinking, I know they're thinking, it's not me, thank God. And it may be them tomorrow. They need to understand that this is starting to run totally amok. And everyone needs to start fighting back and using the preemptive strikes that we're going to hear from Jesse later today. Now, as we've already talked about on several different shows, I want to just stream into the live stream again one of our connections that we need to connect with, and that's Dennis Kucinich. And about the money.
Same people roughly in charge of our money system that brought it to this present best, continuing to decline for average working people. The same people are in charge of our weapon systems. It's going to be too late if you let it run the same type of course. It's going to be too late to act.
When you look at the kind of broad-scale unemployment that we have in this country, when you consider that 15 million Americans are out of work, another 12 million Americans are underemployed, that the American Institute of Architects have said that there is between $2 and $3 trillion in infrastructure needs which have not been met, you can understand that we are at a moment of crisis, a crisis that requires that we look at the structure of our systems. We understand that the ability to coin money is a basic constitutional privilege that Congress is supposed to be involved in, and that Congress has the ability and the right to be able to change the present system. And so, again, looking at the work that Stephen has done, we have been able to identify a mechanism by which the government can spend money into circulation for the purpose of investing in infrastructure, investing in our economy, investing in rebuilding America, investing in putting millions of people back to work. It's that kind of investment which needs to be made now. The private sector is not investing, per se, in America. When the private sector fails, the government has a moral responsibility to step in. But this goes beyond those principles. It goes right to the issue of in whose interest is the money supply being managed. And we know that it's been managed in a private interest. We know that the Fed miserably failed in its role to protect the interests of the American people when it helped to fuel the subprime mortgage meltdown through its lack of vigilance and oversight. We know that we're at a moment right now where our country is in deep trouble unless we make some structural changes in the way money's created.
No kidding. I want to bring it back to let's always remember it's all about the money. And I found the 2 live streams that majorly focused on it's all about the money and the systemic risk of fiat credit. And I've linked them specifically to this webpage on the Homeowner for Justice library. Our website is, I've been told it's a library of information. I think that's probably a pretty good description. So if you go to the homepage, Activism Solutions, and down to Public Banking, because what Dennis is talking about but not actually stating, which is, again, one of these ultimate long-term solutions that completely changes the game. And that is the creation of credit for public benefit instead of private profit. So you go to the public banks page, and here's the 2 links. It's all about the money and the systemic risk of fiat credit. Share those links. And again, I wanted to point into again who should we connect with as we hear these people, as I show these video and YouTubes and stuff. I'm making a list so that we keep reminding ourselves these are the people that support us. These are some of them are legislators, some of them worked in government, some of them still are. These are the people that are stepping up for the people. It's all about who's going to support the people versus who's going to get bought off by the banks. And that's what's major important for us to pay attention to. So today, without further ado, I'd like to, Jesse's on the line. Let's get him on the line. Hi, Jesse, this is CJ. Jesse, are you there?
I am here. I can barely hear you.
Uh-oh, can you turn up your volume? I'm turning up mine.
There you go.
Okay. So, welcome to the show.
Gail. Oh, okay. This is CJ. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was Gail or CJ. How are you?
This is CJ. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Well, I'm on the highway, and so you might hear a little background noise. I'm on my cell phone. I'm hands-free.
Oh,
and,
that's great.
I got to go up to Tennessee today, so I'm kind of driving up, avoiding the bad weather off to the west. So.
Well, we thank you for joining us today, and I've got your website up on the screen. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the effort and the work that you guys have been doing?
Well, mine goes back. My story goes back to early 2000. I started helping families. Believe it or not, my partner and I started helping families in foreclosure when there was still some equity, flip their homes quickly and get out of them. A lot of the people that we came across really didn't want to stay in the home for whatever reason. They were, a death in the family, a divorce, loss of a child. Listen, I can give you 1,000 reasons why people said, no, I just don't want the memory, or I just want out.
Yeah.
I need the money fast. Whatever the case may be, we formed a group of investors all over the world. So it wasn't just here in the States, but that would buy the home. Some of them would carry the actual note. If for whatever reason they wanted to stay, they would actually lend them, basically pay off the mortgage, and then carry the notes and then sell it off. We had buyers that would buy the notes after we seasoned them. And, it was a whole process. But the biggest problem I had, and we had, was that these attorneys would want these exorbitant fees to reinstate the loan. I mean, you know the way people are by nature. I'm in foreclosure. They're selling my house in 2 days. Tomorrow, you never have any time to do anything. It's a panic type of situation.
Right.
And I started, having to write these checks, and we had some capital that we pretty much built up, and that's what we had to work with. Well, we were running out of it pretty quickly, writing checks for $30,000 and $25,000, and I thought, this has got to stop. This is ridiculous. We got to be able to fend off these attorneys somehow. And that's how I started learning all the foreclosure stuff, and eventually I just evolved into the debt collectors and the credit card debt and repossession, and I wound up handling and actually helping about a little over 600 homeowners here in Florida and in about 7 or 8 states. And I thought, this just ain't working. It's just there's not enough of me to go around to help them. And my philosophy has always been to try to help people help themselves versus me helping them. Because, once you help somebody, that's it. They really didn't learn anything. And to me, there's a level there that you have to want to help yourself. It has to happen. If not, then, there's nothing really I want to do for you. And,
Right.
An attorney friend of mine said, Jesse, listen, why don't you take this on the internet and do something with it, help some people learn to do what you do. And that evolved. Obviously, our website's been up for 2.5 years, and thank the Lord, it's really taken off. A lot of members, a lot of successes. But what I developed was, over the years, an offensive strategy, which is what still is missing to this day, is to be on the offensive before they come after you. You go after them. And even if they come after you, you still have an opportunity to go after them. And that's really what our website is based on. Federal laws, because that would apply across the entire United States. There's no particular state laws or particular rules of civil procedure or local laws, that county laws or state laws that would deter from it. Even though we do go into the foreclosures, for instance, like where you're at, California, that's my home state, by the way. I'm from Culver City. That's where I was born and raised. But we let our members get into that. We know some, but I try to not concentrate too much on that, because there is such a good offensive strategy if you strike first, if you do your homework. And that's what's missing, and still missing. And I have a lot of attorney friends that we've developed these offensive strategies, and they work. And not only do they work, as you've seen yourself, they actually put money in your pocket. We have members who've actually gotten homes free and clear. Basically, the people just go away. Once you start asking the right questions and you go the right direction with it, that pretender lender will just go away. They don't want to bother you. Personally, myself, I have 6 homes in foreclosure. They're all over the statute of limitations, meaning the 5 years. And I'm in the process now of working to get them all dismissed little by little for various reasons. And once that happens, they're all mine. They can't come after me anymore. They're time barred. So there's many methods out there, DJ, that work. It's just a matter of keeping it simple, stupid, instead of all this high-tech stuff, which nobody understands, and including the judges. Keep it simple, stupid, and you use methods and tactics that you know work. That's about all. I mean, there's nothing more I really can say. We do work. We prove it to everybody. Unlike most 99% of everybody we know, we never show anybody any proof. We celebrate the proof. We want to share it with everybody, our friends, our members, non-members, families,
Exactly.
So, the system works, and it's almost 100% foolproof, unless somebody goes and veers off course and tries to commingle some other method or strategy that has no proven basis in the past or in law.
Okay.
Can we argue facts? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to tell people, I have on the screen, but I want to read the laws upon which your strategies are based, and we've talked about them, several of these in our live stream shows before, and various other guests. One is the FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Another, we have not talked about the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA, We have not talked about the Telephone Consumer Practice Act, TCPA. We have sort of mentioned TILA, Truth in Lending Act, but not very much. And we've definitely focused on RESPA, the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. And so those are all federal acts. That's correct, right, Jesse?
Yeah, that's why we tried to implement them. But I tell you, the TCPA, the FCRA, FCCPA. Well, let me rephrase that. The FCRA, the TCPA, RESPA, and TILA are just moneymakers. That's your cash flow. The FCCPA is the simplest act on earth to use against these pretender lenders, these substitute trustees, and there's some, courts different opinion as to whether a trustee is a debt collector or not. If you do it the right way, you argue, of course, that case law has been made all over this country on many different subjects. But if you come in there and you do it the right way, there's no way for them to get out of it. And that's really how you got to approach it using what we already know works.
Right.
The TCPA, yeah, it's very simple. Cell phones, in today's day and age, everybody gets harassed on their cell phone. For instance, my cell phone, somehow or other, got reported onto my Experian consumer report. And I have no desire to take it off. I've made probably in the last 3 years